Melbourne has a new tower that's transformed the skyline of the city, but it is also doing a whole lot more on the ground. Rob, I find this a really dramatic space, and it's a little like walking down one of Melbourne's laneways and having, the closeness of those buildings on each side. Is that where it comes from?
It was absolutely intended to be like one of Melbourne's laneways. We really wanted to bring Melbourne into the space, but also to inform how we design the building. Such an important part of this is how do you take such a large city block and literally bring it to a scale that actually is familiar to people.
And you've spanned with this sky bridge from one tower to another. It's a really unusual thing to do in Melbourne.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we've brought the ground up into the tower, but within the bridge structure itself is some of the residential amenities. So you've got a pool, you've got a sky garden, really amazing spaces with fantastic views.
The first thing for us was just acknowledging how special the site is. It was acknowledging it was an island site, very special in the context of Melbourne, had a bit of history to it. And the way we found it to do it justice was to have a design competition. We had a fantastic process during the design competition, some really interesting responses.
You won this building through a design competition. Does this look like where you started?
It doesn't actually look like where we started at all, but I suppose that big vision is still really inherent in the scheme that you see today. So we started off with a set of building blocks that allowed us to emancipate the ground plane, so half of the site was given back to the city.
Like this space?
Like this space. It was a real collaboration between the council, the developer and ourselves to offer something back to the city in the form of the inhabited public space that you see here today.
It gives sunshine, spaces to sit, rest spots and play spots for the skateboarders. I think it's really quite an amenity that you've given. Chris, it's really challenging in apartment buildings to give residents really great amenity like ventilation. And this garden is really amazing, I think.
Isn't it? It's fantastic and intentionally done to give back something to the residents, to say we don't need to fill it all up with apartments. We want to have something that's a little bit special. It's a special treat to see people up here at night with their drinks and having a little gathering and the like. It's fantastic. It's worked out better than we could have expected.
And I understand this is actually the sky bridge that joins the two towers together.
Yep. To actually have it open up to the sky where you'd normally see plant. We've concealed that, we've pushed it away. You can probably see a little bit of the engineering, get some clues about how much of a scale of a project it was to get this up here and to get it to support this space and what the builders had to do to actually create it.
So we're hovering really over open space below.
Yeah, exactly.
Rob, I think this is amazing from this level, how you get an idea of the form of the building. It's so unusual.
It was a response to the shadow plane, firstly and foremost, because we had to get as much sunlight onto the Yarra and retain that as part of the planning envelope. But it was also a way to give an identity to the massing of the building. It also creates what we call the hillside community, whereby every apartment has its own sense of space and privacy as you look down. And then within the space itself, you get these fantastic views which, extend all the way from the Dandenongs to the MCG, across the Yarra and out to the port here as well.
Collins Arch came with a whole lot of promises for this city. New networks, new laneways, and changing a street into a place for the people. Has it delivered? I think it has.
Time to find out which projects from this episode